It's been a long day, but I think a really good one.
Yes.
My name is Barb Jewett. I'm with PASA. I'm very happy that you were here. I know that I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say because, like many of you in this room, we grew up outside of the digital age. And this is going to be digital video, use of it district-wide, and how to become good at it, and how to make it good for your school. And we have a group of people from the Neshannock Township School District. We have the superintendent, Terry Main, Jean Purcell, Amy Clark, and Bo Berman. So I'm going to turn it right over to you and to enlighten us today.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll let Bo start for us.
Yeah, so we're jumping right in with the interactive portion of today's presentation, which is an audience survey. So we're going to ask you to pull out your smartphone, if you have one, cell phone, smartphone, out of your purse, out of your bag. We want full participation. We're looking around here. Okay. Now pretend that you're charged with using this to get some video, film some video of your niece's soccer game. And we want to know, how would you physically hold the phone to do that? Pretend the game is up here and we're playing up here. How would you hold it? Okay, so we have seeing a lot of horizontals, which is what we want to see. We're seeing a few verticals. There's no points here, so don't worry. Okay, so we're seeing a mixed bag here. A lot of horizontals, which is good. So if you know that, that's a good start. So as I alluded to, the correct answer in 99% of circumstances is horizontal. Smartphone video should be captured that way, and the reason being is the example which you see right here, in which case if you do it vertically, you're going to end up with these black bars on the side of it, which are generally recognized as bad and just not very visually appealing. There are some circumstances where there's a school of thought where people are doing it vertically now for direct to social media, but in general, you want to go horizontal. So that's question number one. Number two is, what is the hottest video-based social media app for teens right now, in your opinion? We'll take, like, people can raise hands and we'll call it out. Okay, I saw one right there. Snapchat. TikTok. Instagram. Snapchat. YouTube. Okay, so we covered pretty much all of the good ones, the big ones right now. The one that, in our opinion, based on what we've researched, is really coming up hot on the other ones is TikTok. And so this kind of opened our eyes up about a year ago, whenever one of our students, we said, we heard you're a YouTube star, and she was like, what? Like, no, I'm big on TikTok. And we were like, TikTok, wait, what? So we were even a little bit behind the curve on this one, but TikTok used to be called Musical.ly or musical.ly, and then a Chinese company bought it about a year or two ago, and it's really soared since then. It allows students it allows anybody to basically make a 15-second video with music, lip syncing, dance, really a lot of different things. So here's an example of one that some of you guys might know this person, but he made So they're very short. There's not even a point to them at times, but it just is a tremendous way to show creativity and self-expression, and the types of effects you can do with them are pretty neat, really, in the palm of your hand. So this app really is, in terms of the amount of downloads it's getting, just creeping up on, nipping at the heels of the other ones you mentioned, Snapchat, Instagram, etc. And our final question, we won't belabor the point here, is if you saw this camera, is this for still photos or for video? So raise your hand if you think it's for still photos. 1, 2, 3. Raise your hand if you think it's for video. Okay. All right. So mixed bag there. Trick question. It's for both. So we have one going right there, which is recording. And some of you know that if you're familiar with video, but we are recording here. So it is for both. Here's an example of the still photo we took with that camera. Pretty crisp. It's a Canon 80D. There's other cameras like it, but this is the one we chose to go with. And then here's an example of a video that was also shot with this camera. So this was for our 5th grade open house this fall. And it's nothing earth-shattering, but just giving you the idea that it takes pretty crisp video at a pretty good price point, and also still photos, so it does double duty. We'll go ahead and pause that now so that you get the idea.
Can you just go to the next slide and see what happens?
Yeah, there we go, perfect. That was the way to do it. So what brings us here today is really the shifting video space. So the fundamentals are still the same in terms of, if you're framing up an interview and you're interviewing someone, you want them to one side of the screen, and then the other part is called talk space, and they're looking a certain way. I mean, those things aren't really changing so much. but the tools and the tricks and the tone are changing rapidly. YouTube, as someone mentioned, is really taking over TV as we know it. There is something called YouTube TV. Streaming services are coming for cable subscriptions. People are cutting the cord, have been for a while. Videos all around us all day long, we can't deny that. So we started wondering, our superintendent started wondering, our students are amazing writers, our test scores have been going up, but why aren't they fluent, so to speak, in video content creation? And he decided to change that. So how did he decide to do that? I'll let you take over, Dr. Meehan.
Well, the idea there is that it is the new medium it's a medium that students relate to as far as communicating. And you think of students writing a term paper or even doing the PowerPoint, but nowadays students they have the tools on their phone to do video, they relate to it. So the idea was to have video go across the curriculum. And what I mean by that is that the students, particularly at the high school level, that their assignments would be turned in as video assignments. And I mean, if you stop and think about that, like a science lab, for example, that we would have normally written a science lab report for a biology dissection, and if the students were to video what they've done during the dissection or the experiment, whatever the case would be, it gives the teacher a lot more to be able to assess the students' understanding and knowledge and techniques that they use. Or if it's an English class, to write about what you think about the poem or the literary work. Well, you know, the words can only go so far on a paper, but if they can really be creative and the student can really get into creating a video that has sound effects and color that really expresses what they believe the author was writing and preparing. So I really wanted to see that expand into our curriculum. I really want to note here that we're a very small school district in Lawrence County. We don't have a big budget, we don't get a lot of federal and state aid. We're pretty much on our own, and we have to do what we do in-house in a very, very small district with a limited faculty and staff. And so it's a challenge. There's no question that it's a challenge to create that. We had a TV program that was very 1990s, and it kind of had collected dust, so to speak, and the teacher that was doing it retired. So it was the perfect time to really look at this and see how we could expand it. The problem that I saw was that none of us in-house really knew how to do any of this. We weren't experts. I've got very talented teachers in their content, but this wasn't in their content when they were trained to be teachers. So I reached out to WTAE News, Bo Berman, who I had seen on Channel 4 News, admired and respected his reporting, and just out of the clear blue, I just sent him an email randomly to think, would you be willing to come up and work with us and work with our teachers? Because we can get our teachers trained. I know these teachers can move mountains, but I don't want to give them the mountain without the tools to move it. And so I needed that time and I needed that talent to do that. And lo and behold, I never thought he'd write back to me, but he did. And we met and we talked and he got approval from WTAE to come and work with our teachers. And so last year, he spent the year working with 4 of our teachers to give them the skills to be able to then teach the program. And so that's how the connection with Bo Berman came. And we'll talk a little bit more about his role with us now as we progress.
Yeah, so this was something that we think other districts can do. I came out once a week for about 3 hours per week and led these sessions. And so I had spent 10 years of reporting on air as a television reporter. Also in Connecticut when I lived there as an adjunct professor at Quinnipiac University teaching broadcast journalism as well. So Dr. Meehan reached out. This is my biography from when I was at Channel 4. Essentially, here's one of the reports just to prove that I was Hey Janelle and Mike, yes, good evening. Very emotional words tonight from that friend and so many others who knew Dr. Rabinowitz. He has a private practice up the street here in Bloomfield, but behind me at Shadyside Hospital is where he also spent plenty of his time over the years. We wanted to talk to some of those who knew him best tonight to find out how he should be remembered and how much he's missed. A weekend ritual.
Every Saturday morning, 7 o'clock, he came in, eggs up, rye toast, well done home fries.
Last Saturday began like any other for Dr. Jerry Rabinowitz, a stop into Ritter's Diner for the usual.
Same routine, same stuff every morning. He came in during the week for lunch. Just a great guy. His smile was the thing I missed the most because he was always in a good mood.
The rest of the day was anything but usual, and it's left those who knew Jerry. So we won't play that whole story right now, but it's also a little bit macabre because it's from the synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh. But one reason we play that is to illustrate that I did that report on a Monday night, I believe it was, And then Tuesday I was in at Neshannock explaining to the teachers the fundamentals of that. And so the story was about a doctor who was killed in that synagogue shooting, but we started the story in a diner with eggs because it was something that would draw people in. And so things like, and then we also, if we watch the end of the story, we end on the eggs as well. And so Dr. Meehan always latched onto that as an example of just one of the things we were teaching instructors of what to then funnel to the students of some fundamentals of storytelling. And so we just see this as replicable of, reaching out to a professional for a little bit of help as a consultant. It's something that even small districts can do, whether it's a newspaper reporter, television reporter, or someone adjacent to those careers. So my role there, it's a little bit strange. It is unorthodox to bring in a television news reporter to help at a high school level, even middle school, elementary school in some cases. So what was my role? Well, one was to train the trainers, as Dr. Meehan said, the group of 4 teachers. Also to purge outdated equipment and spaces. I think it can be difficult sometimes to get rid of what we put so much equity into when we have these big old-fashioned switchers and we have some of the older equipment that we've had for so many years, and that's how you do your student newscast. But part of what I've been doing is taking things like that camera that literally says broken in marker on it and getting rid of it. And so we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute, but we purchased some new equipment, which has been challenging because there really was no budget for this. We've also refurbished some existing spaces. One of them is a new podcasting room dedicated to that in our school district, which we're excited about. So one strategy, the second strategy was finding money wherever we could. So Dr. Meehan encouraged me to apply for a grant. We were awarded that grant. We used that to purchase 2 of these DSLR cameras, wireless microphones, podcast microphones, a new laptop, etc. We also took an inventory, this took me like a day, of all of our old equipment, collecting dust and price search, all of it on eBay meticulously to learn that even though it was very outdated, like old mini DV tapes, like people don't use tape anymore, they use cards. So that was just not something that was going to be applicable to our students to teach them to go in the real world. But for some reason, people out there do want this equipment on eBay. And so this is an example of something we sold for $77. So it's not a lot of money, but we're hoping to reinject that, reinvest it back into new equipment as much as we can. So again, the take-home point, I think, is just that we could have thrown our hands up and said, okay, it's not in the budget, so maybe in a few years from now, but instead we tried to think of other ways to get new equipment. And again, we're not claiming to be reinventing the wheel here, but there's a lot of large school districts that have an established video program. They have thousands of dollars in resources, and that's awesome. We're a little smaller, a little more rural. We don't, so we're trying to be nimble and have a video program that's up and running pretty quickly with relatively limited capital investment. So another thing is our students are not all using these. We only have 2 of these. They're using smartphones, like we said at the beginning, holding them horizontally and capturing video that way. Our advanced students, which are going to be in our second level course, will be using these cameras and sharing them, working together. So, but it's about the fundamentals first. So Dr. Meehan, kicking it back to you, we think the key here is the word required.
Yes, it's now required that all of our 9th grade students take the digital media course. And the idea of that is so that when they get to 10, 11, 12, each of these skills will be embedded in these students so that the teachers can do what I was mentioning earlier as far as using it for science projects or an English project and so on. And that was the leap. We had to get, that's a graduation requirement now at Neshannock, that they have to complete that course. This is the first year of it, and the teachers that were trained last year were then assigned to teach that. Another point I want to make here is we didn't add any faculty to do this. That wasn't going to happen with the board or the budget. Neither one were going to permit that. So by adjusting a few things, and we really didn't drop any other requirement, we added an extra half credit because it's a 90-day course every other day that every 9th grader now has to take. But we were able to juggle faculty and staff and take certain duties away and reshuffle that so that these teachers that were trained last year were then assigned to teach these courses. And this is our first year for the students to actually be required to take this. And when Bo mentioned that there'll be the advanced course next year, I look at this the same as when we were in school, we all had to take choir or music. But probably very few of us in this room ever got on stage and performed. Maybe of all the kids that took choir, 3 or 4 may have risen to that level, or art, or whatever else that we expose students to, but we were never exposing them to this. And I look at it the same way. Every 9th grader is going to take it. Every 9th grader is not necessarily going to be a videographer. It also has career readiness aspects because there is a market in the career for this beyond college and actually having these skills to be able to go out in the workplace with them. So we're hoping now that from all of the 9th graders having the skills, just like they would if they were taking art or music or other courses, that some of the ones that are really interested or show a direct talent, we've already started to identify many that are saying to the teachers they can't wait to go on and do more and more with this. So they're really responding. The students are responding, and every ninth grader at the end of this year, all of our high school students will be trained in video production and video editing and digital media, and we're very proud of that.
Right, we couldn't ask them to do that book report as a video book report if they didn't have the fundamental skills and run them through this boot camp, so that's what we're trying to do. And again, we're not trying to say that video is going to replace writing or reading or anything like that. We see it as supplementary to it. It doesn't have to be either or, it can be both. So part of that was just to lean into the generation YouTube and nurture their desired career path. So the handout, which we're giving out now, is an article that articulates or goes into a recent poll of students that, quote, revealed that at least for Western countries, kids today said they were more interested in YouTube than spaceflight, which is a little bit sad, but maybe. But the majority of children in that 2019 survey said they prefer to be a YouTuber than being a pro athlete, musician, or astronaut. According to a 2017 survey, more than half the kids who were asked wanted to be a YouTuber over being a doctor, lawyer, actor, writer, or singer. So that's what these surveys are saying. The reason why are kids wanting to be YouTubers so badly? We think it's because parents are increasingly handing toddlers a tablet to keep them busy, to pacify them. YouTube is sort of becoming their pacifier, their Saturday morning cartoons, if you will, and therefore becoming their ambition in some sense. Some of you may have heard of Ryan's Toy Review, which is on YouTube. It is a 7-year-old, he might be 8 now, who does toy reviews on his YouTube channel with his parents. Last year he earned $22 million. So advertisers in the other article we're passing out, so there's 2 articles. One is about the survey, the second one is about advertisers. They are now targeting Ryan's viewers who are in diapers. So they're pitching advertisements to toddlers, mostly still in diapers. So all of this to say that YouTube, there's very much a generation YouTube out there.
And I can definitely attest to that. I have 4 kids myself, the oldest being 9, and my 3-year-old will literally stand in my bathroom and look in the mirror and say, "Welcome to my channel." And I would say that I'm not one of, I try to limit, tablet time, but it's out there. They see it. So my kids want to be Ryan one day.
Yeah, there's that aspiration. And so,
I want them to be Ryan, yes.
and so look, as I alluded to, I mean, we're not here to debate whether that's a good thing, a bad thing, or otherwise. The fact is it's pretty much the reality right now. So we're striving to provide our students the tools, at least, to tell compelling stories through video using professional tools and techniques. We edit on Adobe Premiere Pro, which is very accessible, which is good. But what's also interesting is that I can attest we use that at WTA-TV in Pittsburgh as our main editing software. So it's a professional tool. And like we said, like Dr. Meehan said, some kids may not like video, may try it and not like it, but we've already seen some take it and run. And what we discovered, as I alluded to, was that we kind of had a video star in our own hallways that we didn't really know about. So this is Sophia Smith on the top left. She is on TikTok, the app that we talked about, and there's a screen grab of her TikTok page on the right. She has a verified account, which is hard to get. I don't have one. She has 250,000 followers, 3.8 million likes, her own hashtag for fans called Sophia Savages, and even her email up there for business inquiries if somebody wants her to do a video about their product or whatnot. So, and we're happy to say she's been accepted to Point Park University's film program, a good school in Pittsburgh for film and video, where we're taking a field trip next week, actually. But so we wanted to harness that talent. We have this in our hallways. What are we doing with it? So we recognize that in her. In years past, we kind of sat on the sidelines as larger schools created videos and won awards. So we threw our hat in the ring last year for the PIAA Public Service Announcement Video Competition to create an entry, and here's our entry. They mandated a 10-second title screen, so that is what we are sitting through now. We could probably fast forward, but. And even coming from the world of journalism, there's some things I liked there that I saw, like there was a sequential edit when she cuts to the hand and then back to the girl's face. There were some actual techniques there that she employed, and that was before our program was even really up and running. We were still in the training phase. So that was just harnessing her talent, but we were happy about that. So we wanted to overhaul our daily announcements this year because we wanted this to bleed through the entire curriculum all across the district. We saw that our old format was really not being watched by students, and it just felt kind of stale. So here's an example of that, not to knock Sam.
Hello, this is Sam Bessel, and these are your Neshannock daily announcements for September 13th, 2018, from Miss Wells. The first TSA meeting will be Tuesday, September 18th during 10th period in room 141. New and returning members are encouraged to attend.
So Sam's a great kid, and he's actually one of the champions of our new program. But so not to knock him, but we felt like that was kind of more 1999 than 2019, and so we decided to revamp it through the use of TikTok. And so the goal was to talk in the students' native language, speak to them. We have now implemented TikTok as the main platform for our announcements. We sought volunteers from our 8 different sections of our brand new Intro to Video course. We had some kids come forward. We feel like they're now sleeker, smarter. I mean, sometimes they confuse us. We're kind of like, that was silly. But we feel like the students are getting it, and Amy is the leader of this. So we'll play it first, and you can talk a little bit about it.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So this one is for a college representative visit to our school. And this weekend, the kids are told where to sign up and when. For Edinburgh University, we do a lot of these, especially in the fall term as juniors and sophomores and seniors are trying to think about where they're going to go.
So the way this works is any teacher, anybody in the district can fill out a form, put it in the box. Amy takes that and disseminates it to her group, her crew of announcement students, and then they have like 48 hours or something like that, 72 hours.
We came up with a window that would allow teachers time to get me the announcements and would also allow me time to disseminate the information to the students. But I really do have to say, pretty much everything I do with these announcement kids is done electronically and through technology. So a lot of the teachers send me the announcements in an email form. I compile a list and I send it out and say, okay, Sam, you're in charge of this one. Isabella, you're in charge of this one. Sophia, you're in charge of this one. They send me a draft of what they have, and I check to make sure that we are actually accurately giving the announcement out and that everything is school appropriate. And then we post it to our new Neshannock TikTok page, which is at Lancer Lunatics, because that's what we call ourselves, the Lancer Lunatics. I post it onto our Google Classroom. We are a one-to-one school using Google Suite technology, apps for education. So I push it out onto a Neshannock Announcements Google Classroom page. And the kids have responded very well, like they all know where to go, and they're much more willing to watch a 15-second video, where again, like the YSU English Festival one in the beginning, where it was like nope and yep, seems silly, but it's trending on TikTok. Like it's on their For You page where kids know when I hear that music what kind of thing I'm going to see. So they like the fact that we're relating to them on that level and that, oh, okay, like I'm watching things in a medium that they understand. And it's very quick and painless. And you know, I just put a hat day video up. We're having a hat day tomorrow and it already has like 400 views. And like understand that we have graduating classes of 90, you know, 100. So for us, that's pretty incredible.
And the announcements are being heard now, where before the announcements would come out and nobody, oh, I didn't know we were having a hat day, or I didn't know that Edinburgh was coming. Now they're actually getting the information because it reaches them at the level that they communicate.
There's sort of an excitement. I felt like it's going to be a premiere of a movie almost, like, oh, what are they going to come up with next? So I think that's been effective. So okay, so the question becomes, what is the value of video? I mean, video's been around a long time. We're not reinventing the wheel here, but is this all worth it? Is it not? What we found just through talking to local colleges and universities is that they're actually requiring increasingly projects to be submitted in video format. I spoke with some colleagues at University of Hartford where they have a video production class requirement for freshmen, which we actually found out after we implemented this at Neshannock. And we spoke with professors from Penn State and Westminster College about video growing as a role in their classrooms, whether it's a science class or otherwise.
Video is really a great educational tool. it has become a vital part of our curriculum.
20 years ago when I started, they would say, I want to be an anchor, I want to be a reporter. Now they're coming in saying, I want to be a YouTuber.
Students are not coming in well versed in video. They're coming in cold. We're teaching them what we can. I certainly don't expect them to be experts in video because I can't, because I don't have time for that in my curriculum. But boy, if they were coming in with that ahead of time, that would make my job so much easier. Necessarily professionalism, communication, the values-based behaviors of the physical therapist assistant, the environment, the safety, any of those critical elements. So it really has enhanced our way to teach the student.
Skills for video are also translating into education. A lot of collaborative projects are being introduced even in the grade school levels. One of the classes I teach is called Tweet Speak, and it merges digital video essentials with a biology of birds class. And so in the biology class, the students become birders. In my class, they're learning to use video and podcasts and so forth to tell the story of what they're learning. It supports what they're learning. Now video is everywhere, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat. The phones are becoming more and more sophisticated, and so having those video skills translate in so many jobs. You look just for social media jobs and video content for companies right now, tons and tons of jobs. School districts are doing this. How can we put our high school football or the video about teaching this in a science class out there?
Professors will sometimes give an assignment to students because they know video is where they live. So rather than writing a 5-page paper, do a 3-minute video on a particular concept. And I think it's a great chance for them to build some confidence as well. So when they get to the next level, college or a job, they have this kind of skill in their back pocket that they can draw on.
Production is beneficial not only from a communication standpoint. I think our students lack the ability to communicate because they're text messaging, they're doing a lot of social media now, they're not communicating verbally like they used to, so we're seeing a deficit in the ability to communicate.
It doesn't take hours upon hours to create video. It's kind of removed a level of gatekeeping out there, right?
It's driving everything we do, and so becoming more media literate through production and video and audio is very important.
Sorry for that dramatic music. We're just trying to keep everybody awake. But so one of the other tenets we wanted to focus on was not being too old school, and so we wanted to bring cutting edge video technology into the classroom, and not just with our seniors or our juniors and sophomores, but also in elementary school. So we formed a partnership with a Pittsburgh startup, a tech startup, which has developed an educational tool that uses artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and machine learning to allow students to create their own cartoon movies. So the CEO and staff, we arranged a visit to Neshannock. I think we were the second school they'd ever, in the world, they'd ever presented this to. And they presented their technology to our students who, we're one of only 2 in the world to demo it thus far. So putting new video technology in the hands of 4th and 5th graders. And we actually brought their setup, which is, it appears kind of rudimentary, but basically you put a smartphone or tablet on this device, which has a mirror, it reflects it against this green screen, and then you can have these characters and move them and do voiceover for them using your tablet, and as you move them in real life, they move on the screen as well, so you'll get the sense of that in this footage here.
spending the past 2.5 years trying to figure out how to help a kid create a cartoon in seconds and be able to publish it so that they can have their own YouTube channel, and then they can work with their family members, with their siblings, friends, parents,